Just like in the first phase of FFT, the behavior change phase has specific goals and specific skills. These skills and goals are the next step along the relational change pathway for the family to take. The logic with the behavior change phase is this. The family's struggles between them, the blame and negativity that serves as a barrier for them to come together and work things out, has been reduced through your reframing and building of themes. Your work to get them on the same page where they have a common goal, a goal towards helping work things out better and improve things in the family. They have more well-defined tasks, and some of the negativity and blame between them has been reduced. These are the same elements that go into alliance with you: a personal relationship, shared picture of goals, and a shared picture of tasks. And the engagement and motivation phase helps create that between the family members. So in essence, by the time they get to the behavior change phase, you have got a group of people ready to move forward and adopt a new task. One of the reasons that we've asked you to wait on helping build skills and helping the family actually get into the meat of working things out is that the skills that you're going to try to teach them are not skills just oriented towards fixing the particular problem they feel today. But these are skills that could be used for other problems. Skills that, if they were done well and could be maintained, could become part of the stableness of the family and could actually become part and parcel of the core family relational theme and the core family relational behavioral patterns. That means that the skills that you work with the family with in this particular phase around this particular set of content or these particular issues will be the very skills that they'll use in the generalization phase to tackle bigger and different problems as they come up in the future. Now, the core skill of the behavior change phase from your perspective is how to take a conversation between the family members and yourself around relevant issues that are important to them and build into that conversation an opportunity and a challenge for each family member to try something different as they work it out. Now, that means that among the family members, each person will try something different, and they'll try those new behaviors and skills, both to initiate conversations and to manage conversations and to come to some good solutions. They'll manage those through your help in conversations in the family sessions. But they involve a set of core skills. These skills that we've incorporated into FFT are the skills that have been identified by the empirical literature as being part of what makes up a healthy and functioning family. There are actually 4 sets of skills: problem solving in an alliance-based way, reciprocal communication where information flows back and forth and it can become clear, collaborative conflict management where people together try to work out the barriers that get in the way at the moment. All of these become essential skills to help build into the core relational patterns of the family so that they're able to tackle bigger problems in the future. Now, the goal in the behavior change phase is exactly what it says on this slide. It is a goal of helping families members work things out. And remember our theme here. Our theme is that our work will become more helpful to families when it feels relevant to what's important to them at the time. The most relevant thing for family members is to work out the daily hassles, work out the daily problems, work out the challenges they have among themselves. And from that comes a sense of renewed hope, a sense of commitment and motivation to keep trying, and a fundamental change in how the family works. Yeah. Here's how it goes in the behavior change phase. You're having a discussion, not much different than the discussion in the engagement motivation phase. The discussion is about something relevant. Maybe it's about school behavior. Maybe it's about something that goes on at home. Maybe it's about trying to access a resource that's necessary for the family. Regardless of the discussion, it needs to be a discussion about relevant things, things that are important to the family. And it is within that discussion that you purposefully redirect, coach, and teach new behaviors that can be used in that moment by the family members to continue their discussion to try to see if within the discussion it can work things out differently. Basically what I mean is that in the session, you'll be doing live coaching where you'll be helping them try new things as they go through discussions. Now, the idea here is that you're going to have to first help and make relevant particular skills that they may need. Now, that becomes important because, again, based on problem definitions, family members don't always see their part of things that need to have happen. Because there's a family focus in all of these skills, this is a family task, not an individual task. This is not for a youth to go manage their anger and a parent to go get better at communication. It's for parents and youth to get better at communication together. It's for parents, caregivers, and youth to get better at problem solving together. And at the end of the day, all the skills you're going to promote, all the discussions you're going to have will involve every family member. Now, it's true that each of those family members may have different challenges that they need to take up in the discussion or in working something out. For example, one parent may need to be more brief, the other may need to listen better, one youth may need to respond in an active way to show his parents that he's listening. In all cases, the common theme is that these are reciprocal actions. It's really important to take these skills and make them very individualized. Now, I can remember when I was first taught to do communication skills in graduate school, we were taught a formula of when you, I feel, because. Now, what was nice about the formula is it allowed me to remember the different components that might be important in talking about emotions with a client. However, from the client's perspective, that formula sounds very stilted and very artificial. So what's important with these common skills of communication, problem solving, conflict management, and helping parents adopt a parenting style that fits the developmental level of their youth? With each of these skills, it is the implementing it in a way that fits the family that is key. Just like in engagement motivation, how you tailored the core reframes and themes to fit the individual nature and circumstance of the problem is really what made them fit. The same thing in behavior change. It's how you individualize the skills and fit it within the family. Change it a little bit each time you do it to fit the new nature and the unique nature of that particular family. That's the creativity that will make behavior change activities work out well. The focus is to have family members bring their understanding of each other from engagement motivation, that same climate, to bear on the working things out and building new skills. We talked earlier about the fact that many of the aspects of FFT TCM will be delivered based upon matching to two factors: the risk level of the family currently and the developmental status of the family. And it's really important to think through both of those. Now with risk, you know that one thing that you can do is more frequently help them with the skills so that you keep a close eye on them and make sure that each time they go through something that you can help them find a new pathway. So in that sense, you can increase the frequency and the quantity of the practice of skills. The second area to match to is the developmental status of the family. And this is that notion we talked about that in different family stages, families feel like different things are more relevant. Families with young children have a certain set of things that occupy their world. Families with adolescents have a different challenge in their hands. And then families with young adults, yet again, a different challenge. So the type of skills and who they're directed to very much depends on the developmental phase of the family. Remember how we talked about this. Early on in family development, families are focused on caring for small children. They need to make sure that those small children are safe. They need to make sure that the house is clean. They need to make sure that it's an environment that the child can grow and develop and thrive. They have a particular set of factors and issues that get raised within a family like that. Sometimes it's struggles between the caregivers. Sometimes it's just the burden on a single caregiver. Sometimes it's the daily hassles of just managing everything. These are common referrals from the child welfare system. The focus of behavior change skills, the same four skills, the focus of it with a family with young children is on helping the parents develop a safe and healthy way of working with and parenting their young children. So it isn't if we're going to work so much on communicating back and forth. The focus here will be on the fourth skill, which is parenting style. And we're going to help the parent by embracing their role as parent, helping them with the skills that they need to do to manage their own issues and make sure that they're also able to manage the issues of caring for their children. The focus is very much upon safety, education, and parenting, helping parents embrace their role so that kids grow up safely. As children grow up, families with adolescents have an entirely different challenge. Now, you know with adolescence what occurs is that's an important period of development where adolescents are supposed to have a voice. They're supposed to speak out. They're supposed to challenge as they try to figure out how and where and in what way they fit into the world. So for adolescents, the challenge is much less about parenting them, and it is much more about figuring out how to work in an alliance-based relationship and coach and teach them so as a caregiver, you can stand close and help them manage these difficult things. But to do so, you have to have the correct expectation, which is an expectation that they will talk back, they will have a voice, and they will challenge you. Here, it's the skills of reciprocal communication, negotiating, and problem solving that become very important because these are very two-sided approaches. And when done successfully, what happens is not only can the parent help manage the adolescent better, the adolescent comes out of a process feeling more empowered and feeling more responsible because they've been treated as the independent voice that they're seeking. And they've ended up with a good decision that they came to with the collaboration of their parents and their caretakers. And so what happens is that we're building the tradition of them working together. Here, again, it will be the core skills that will be most important. Then you have families in which the children have grown. You have families in which the focus for the identified patient is much more on a young adult. And here, again, the focus is a different one. There aren't children around. There aren't young children around. There aren't adolescents around. But instead, we have a young adult around. And that young adult is independent. They have their own voice. They make their own decisions. It's learning how to create the relational connections between them and the people that will support them that's important. Sometimes those connections are family of origin. Sometimes, as I said, they're biological. Other times they're family of choice. But whoever that family is, it's using the skills in this phase to help them interact with, connect with, and be able to access and use resources within that adult world in which they live. The same set of skills. But what changes here is that those skills are getting used by a broader network rather than a biological network. So we've divided behavior change up into three categories. These are three categories that will change who and how you use the skills of the phase to work with the family. This is a little bit about how behavior change works in FFT. It's not about a curriculum. It's really not about teaching a worksheet or teaching a skill and then sending the family off to try it. It's an active and a dynamic conversation that you have with them in which you're an active participant and you help them in real time try new behaviors. Like a little bit like this. Imagine that there's a mom, there's a daughter named Jenny, there's a dad, Jenny again, Jenny, and mom. This should look very familiar. This is a relational sequence or a relational pattern. And again, notice we don't even have to put items on this, but you can see what happens is that mom begins, Jenny begins, and everybody in the family gets involved in this core pattern that becomes very stable. The notion here is this: within this relational pattern, within the relational or problem sequence, your job is to look for places where you can add a new skill that will change the outcome of this pattern. So what I mean is imagine that between Jenny and mom, there is a new skill that you can add, and that skill is for mom to speak a little less quickly and listen and respond to Jenny with an acknowledgement rather than a disagreement. That's a communication skill. That skill, once introduced at that point when it happens, will then change Jenny's next response and the rest of the pattern. Similarly, imagine that with Jenny, that she has to work out with her father when she might come home after school. That could be the skill of negotiation. And notice as they begin to interact in that way, you can break the cycle by introducing the new skill at that point. Behavior change is about choosing skills that fit a particular place within the relational pattern. And these are skills that need to be relevant and important. They need to be possible and obtainable. They have to be likely to make a difference. And they're most useful when these skills apply to more than one content situation, even though in the discussion, in the moment, in the room, you probably talk about one issue.